name's Ellie. I am a third year student nurse, and I just wanted to do a little video talking about tips that I wish I'd been told as a first year student nurse from a third year. A lot of the questions that we receive are mainly to do with placement, so I will be talking mainly about placement in this video because that is what we generally get questions about. The uni side of nursing doesn't seem that scary, and the placement side is obviously terrifying because, you know, we are put as an 18-year-old, if you're straight out of uni like I was, you're put as an 18-year-old on a ward full of actual people, with pretty much none of the people you know from uni, and it is the most terrifying experience ever. For my first placement I was in A&E, which was definitely thrown in the deep end, but that is the placement where I learned the most out of my whole placement experience. And what I really took from that placement was, don't judge a placement before you go to the placement, because I was terrified. But the support I got from the staff was incredible. I absolutely adored every second of it. And the things you see, your knowledge will expand massively. For me personally, I found that I learn a lot better on placement than I do in university. I'm not a very academic person. I do have dyslexia and I do struggle to read and comprehend. However, I'm on track to graduate this year and I absolutely love this degree with my whole heart. That being said, this is one of the hardest degrees you will ever come across, and I'm not discrediting anyone else's experience, but nursing and any kind of STEM medicine degrees are so difficult, and I found that you really need to lean on your support system. For the first year I stayed at home, and second year I moved in with two of my friends who are doing midwifery and physio, but I absolutely loved every second of it. And I never believed it when people said, you know, nursing friends are the ones you'll make for life, or the friends you make at uni you'll make for life, because first year I didn't make many friends at all, but this year, last year and this year, the girls that I have supporting me are just incredible, and I don't know what I'd do without them. That being said, you don't have to have a traditional uni experience. I didn't have the traditional uni experience. Ooh. I didn't stay in dorms, I didn't, you know, go out partying every night. Don't get me wrong, I did my fair share of clubbing and stuff, but I didn't do it every single night. It was not for me, and neither was halls. Just don't feel pressured to conform to the typical uni standards, because they don't work for everyone. They aren't for everyone. They're not a one size fits all. Okay, placement tips. Let's talk about placement tips. Okay, so the first things you're gonna want to get. Obviously, you've got your uniform. I'd recommend going a couple sizes bigger than what you typically would wear, because they are thick, starchy, uncomfortable material. They're not stretchy. You'll have an elasticated band around your trousers, but they're not very stretchy. So get a couple of sizes bigger. Then for your uniform, I don't know if this is the same for every uni, but we're allowed to wear whatever socks we want, and it's black shoes. So shoe wise, I use the Skechers Dreamwalkers. They are leather, that means they're wiped clean, and that means that they, you know, any bodily fluids, anything gets spilt on them, wipe them with a Clinell and they're good to go. I can also chuck them in the washer if they get particularly saturated. Sock wise, compression socks from Amazon. They are in my top 5 nursing items that I recommend to first years. They are chef's kiss. They don't work for everyone, don't get me wrong, but they're pretty good. And when you're not used to being on your feet for 12-hour shifts, as I said, if you come straight out of sixth form like I did, and you've worked in your little cafe job or your little restaurant job, you've got something waiting for you, babe. It is hard, but yeah, compression socks and comfy shoes are like the top necessities that you need for this degree. Pocket wise, you're just gonna have to trial and error what works for you. I bought a bunch of stuff before I started, like clipboards and all these things that I've literally never looked at or used once. I take the Bic pens, you know, the 4 colour ones, best pen, but take a couple of like cheap pens to give to people if they ask for a pen. Highlighters for your handover sheets, that's also really helpful, and I do colour code it, so if it's DNA CPR, red, if it's type 2 diabetic, type 1 diabetic, highlight, and then I do make a list, not a list, a table of all the beds that I'm looking after and what interventions need to be completed, what has been handed over that we need to complete during that day. So stuff like doing the bloods, what obs are on, if they're on 2 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour, whatever. I put in this table so I can keep track of what I am doing and what needs to be done. Taking initiative is really important on placement. I know it's terrifying when you like walk onto the ward and you've got all these nurses and all these patients and you're just there like, oh my god, what do I do? You've got to try and take initiative. My friend actually, who's in the same year as me, taught me about this method of making a table and putting all your interventions in there and getting them completed. Excuse me. She's actually just messaged me now, so speak of the devil. But yeah, Gracie showed me this method and it has saved my life for keeping on top of everything on placement. Placement is terrifying. There is no doubt about it that placement is terrifying. If you have the ability to go to your placement area before you start placement, 1,000,000% do that. So you will, about 2 weeks before you start your placement, you can contact the ward about your off duty, which is your shifts. I know that sounds really confusing because off duty sounds like when you're off, but your off duty is actually when you're on shift. That took me a while to learn and understand. Yeah, so your off duty is when you are on placement. If you can go there beforehand and have an orientation of the ward, just get the feel of it. If you can drive and if you are driving to your placements, do the drive, see how long it takes you. Highly, highly recommend. Some placement areas already say your orientation is included in your first day, but if they let you come and see it, even if they are like, no, it's included in the first day, I would still do the drive. I would still take myself there so I could see kind of like what I was getting myself into, what the drive was like. Yeah, that just helps to ease my anxiety. And I always take a packed lunch rather than getting food from the cafeteria. Just me personally, it makes me really anxious because if I'm waiting in the queue and the queue's taking too long and I've got to walk back to the ward, and what if I don't have time to eat, and what if I'm too long on my break, there's just a lot of anxiety around in lunches. So packed lunch with loads of snacks because you never know what you're going to fancy. But try and eat before your shift, and I know that's hard because I really struggle with eating first thing in the morning, but try and eat something small, a granola bar, protein bar, just something to line your stomach, because your first break is usually between 10 and 12, so you've been working, you've probably been up since 6 a.m. and you don't get your break till 10. You're going to be hungry, and those first couple of hours on a ward-based placement are sweaty, they are hard work. You're getting all the patients up, out of bed, washed, dressed. It's hard, but yeah, a little bit of protein first thing in the morning, and when you get home from placement, meal prep is going to be your best friend. I typically meal prep a protein, whether that's chicken breast, mince, like taco meat or something. Let's use the example of chicken. So I will marinate chicken and cook 4 or 5 chicken breasts and put them in the fridge. And then you want some veggies, so I will roast a massive tray of veggies using all my favourite herbs and spices and a bit of olive oil to get them all roasted up, put in the fridge, and then I will make my carbohydrate on the day. So a typical placement meal once I get home would be a chicken breast, roasted veggies, stuff like courgettes, potatoes, peppers, tomatoes, all roasted up in a pan, and then I will make some couscous. So I've got a carb, a veggie and a protein, and that is the way I build my meals after placement. It is a no-brainer. You could also go for a slow cooker option. I love a slow cooker. I have just killed our slow cooker. If I can figure out how to insert the clip, because I caught it on my security camera, I was devastated. But yeah. kill my slow cooker. But I guess you could do on your hob for a low heat, but I wouldn't really feel too comfortable leaving the house if the hob was on. So I don't know, it's up to you guys, but try and be proactive in looking after yourselves, because when you get to the end of that 12-hour shift, you are not going to want to feel very nice to yourself. You're going to want to get in the shower, wash off the day and go to bed. So try and prep those things while you have the energy to then get yourself sorted. Appearance wise, light makeup, don't plaster your face. You're going to be sweating, you're going to be covered in everything under the sun. You don't need heavy makeup on. I'm pretty sure most places don't allow eyelash extensions. I could be completely wrong because I have seen a couple nurses wearing them, but no nails. Really, I think I just ran out of storage, so apologies if the angle changes or camera changes or anything like that. But I think I was talking about earrings. I have a helix, a conch and 3, and then on this side I have a single and a stack. So I feel like this angle's gone weird. Ugh, that's so frustrating. That'll do. Plastic retainers, if you can. I find them really uncomfortable and I am slightly allergic to them. So I just put single studs in those 2. And I put single studs in those 2 because they're relatively fresh as well. Even though they're pretty much filled now, I try not to agitate them as much as possible. Hair wise, I don't really have very long hair. I did cut it all off after a placement because I needed a change. It was a really difficult placement, so I chopped all my hair off. But it used to be down to my bum. It was incredibly long, and it is curly. These are heatless curls, but I do have curly hair. I typically braid Dutch braids around the back of my head, all the way down, and then I tie them in a knot in the back of my hair. That way my hair is off the collar. NHS standards are obviously bare below the elbow, minimal makeup and hair off the collar, so it's tied at the nape of my neck, it's off my collar, it's neat, the short bits out the front are not in my face because it's braided. Yeah, that's like appearance wise. And then I do have a NHS hoodie. I'm not wearing it because it does have my university on it and I want to protect my privacy, but it has NHS, the rainbow, my name, student nurse Ellie, and my university. For night shifts, for walk into placement, whatever, highly recommend. They're like 20 quid off Etsy, I think I got mine off, and I can try and put the link in the description if I can figure out how to do that, because this is my first YouTube video. I don't quite know what I'm doing. I'm filming on my boyfriend's camera. I tried to set up the tripod, but could not figure it out. And I've changed all the settings on his camera because he does photography, so honestly, who knows? I feel like I'm super close to the camera now. Dear Lord, it's been a long day and it's only 1 o'clock and I've been awake for 2 hours. But yeah, I think that is everything for this video. Please let me know if you have any more questions. I can do more I'm doing 2 more placements. I have 2 more placements to the end of the year. I'm doing 1 2-week makeup placement, and then I'm doing a 14-week management placement, which is where everything needs to be done, signed up and smashed out. Oh, proficiency wise, I've remembered. What I do, this isn't what everyone does. I really struggle with getting overwhelmed with everything that I need to get done. There are a lot of proficiencies, a lot. I couldn't tell you a number. I know there's at least 29 that you need to get signed off every single year. And you know, they get signed off in different placements and whatever, so you have to search through to see which ones you haven't got signed off, and that really stresses me out. So what I do is, again, a piece of paper. I sit down before my placement on my laptop or my PC or whatever I'm doing, write down every single proficiency that I need signing off. And that way, when I can walk onto that placement area and I have my initial interview, I can say, hi, these are the proficiencies I need signed off. How can you help me achieve that? Because at the end of the day, you're there to learn. You're not there for them to like you. And I know that's easier said than done, but I've been in a lot of situations where I've really got upset because people didn't like me or whatever, and I was scared they didn't like me, when actually you're there to learn you're not there to make friends. And I know that's a really hard thing to understand, especially as a little 18-year-old who's, you know, doesn't know what the working world is like. But yeah, I think that's everything. Fingers crossed. But yeah, if you've got any questions, please leave them down below, and like and subscribe if you like my content.